time to float.
Beam into your device directly while floating in the sewers somewhere under Southern California. It's the Hollywood Horror Nerds, your number one source for news, speculation, and discussion, exclusively for Universal Studio Hollywood's Halloween Horror Nights. And now to your host, Undead Ed, and our resident void monster, Alvarowise the Dancing Clown.
Thank you, Alvarowise, for that fantastic intro, and let me welcome you back as well to the Hollywood Horror Nerds. We know it's been a minute since we've been able to sit down and record, but I think we're both happy to be back in the studio.
Oh yes, I'm glad to be back inside an AC room. It's always great to be indoors when it's boiling hot outside in Southern California.
I think in Southern California we're reaching scorching temperatures of like 85 degrees, so that's just death has come to visit LA.
And don't come at us because your area says it's 110, 100 and something. To us in Southern California, this is that.
When you're used to a high of 79, you just when it hits 80, you're just done. You're just done for the year, pretty much. So that's where we're at. So we know, as we said, it's been a while, and last time I believe we were complaining that there were no new announcements. Since then, there's been quite a bevy of announcements. They're coming out as hard and fast now. And we're going to go over what's been announced. We're taking a little break from camp. We'll return to Jason Fest soon, but we needed to catch you up on some news, make sure you're all aware, and I'm sure you're just dying to hear our thoughts. We're going to give you that as well.
Yeah, and then...
Yeah, we're going to follow up. We also did take a little break, and we went to Vegas, and we did a few little monster adventures while we were in Las Vegas. We're going to talk about that as well, because if you're also on the West Coast, you're probably going to go to Vegas sometime in your lifetime. Yeah. And maybe you want to do some horror events, so it's good to know what's out there.
We took quite the sewer trip while we were in Vegas.
Yes, we did. They are opening a year-round Horror Nights experience in Area 15 right off the Vegas Strip. So I'm sure when that opens, there's going to be a lot of interest in people wanting to go out there. So consider this a little preview of other attractions you can do on your weekend escape.
Yes. And on top of that, let's get to it.
Yeah, we're just going to jump right into the news because there's a lot to get through.
Last time we were saying there wasn't, and now it's here.
It's all not quite. We're going to talk about
most of it's here.
Most of it's there. We think we know what else is coming based on speculation. So we're just going to start going through all of the houses that have been announced. We're going to go one at a time. Some of these I think we've mentioned before. We'll just review them. We'll give our thoughts. We'll tell you what's coming. So with that, Alvarowise, what's our first on the list?
Starting with the first house, Death Valley.
Dead Exposure, Death Valley. So what's been announced about this house?
The official synopsis is, a secret lab's attempts to create super soldiers takes a turn for the worse, creating a radioactive zombies who escape just as you arrive. That's Universal's official synopsis on this.
Yeah. So this is the one, if you remember back to our speculation episodes with what was it called, the Cunisoid hut design, that bizarre word.
Yeah.
That's the military huts, and with the borax and all that I thought was maybe aliens. You thought maybe Mars attacks. Feels like we were in the realm where some secret military installation gone haywire. So it's not quite aliens, it's zombie soldiers instead.
I thought it was the radioactive symbol this was referring to.
That was that one too. So this isn't like I don't get super excited for the originals. I would say this is kind of a cool theme. If you see the preview images they put out, there's this cool like super soldier who has the exposed brain. That's always kind of a fun design. So it looks like they're gonna have some fun with the character design, and that's very important on these mazes. You want whoever is popping out at you to look cool and scary at the same time, and I'm hoping they're able to hit that. Seems this is going to be one that's not so super serious, a little more tongue-in-cheek, and I think that's fun to kind of break up these heavy, scary mazes back to back. You want to have something that's a little more fun, a little more lighthearted, kind of fun scary instead of just scary. So This was one that I think this is definitely a plus for the event as far as originals go. What do you think?
It's going to sound very interesting. I know that Florida has had something of this. I believe it's called Dead Origins Patient Zero. What's their version of it? And so
I think that one was a little more serious than what this one's looking to be.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it, so I can't be authoritative.
Because we're from Southern California.
Yes, where the weather is usually nice.
And our winds don't get so high.
We don't get hurricanes. But we also get fewer original houses. And we'll talk about that, I think, when we do our recap.
The second house that we're going to be...
We're going right to the second one.
that we're gonna
So
be
do you have
jumping
any extra
into.
thoughts before we move on? We blasted through them because we have nothing to say about the exposure Death Valley.
It's there isn't a lot. It's a new house, so we can't say like, oh
We don't know
yes,
much. I mean, it's a
yeah,
zombie house. That's kind of, but it's like special zombies.
yeah.
And this is going to be where The Last of Us was last year, kind of next to the Mummy attraction. I will say what's leaked out, it's not really leaks, but you can see the facade of the house when you go down the giant escalator. It looks like they're doing a lot with like a helicopter or something that's crashed into the military base. It's a really elaborate facade. It looks very cool. So that gets me more excited as well.
I am a zombie fan, so I'm always excited when zombies are announced. Um, I used to have a running app, fun fact, that was all about zombies, and the faster you ran, the it would announce it in your ear. Oh, the zombies are getting closer.
That's good
It,
motivation.
it was a great motivation. So the fact that these zombies are here, I'm excited for. Something I did read was that in Florida, the main way they walked through was through strobe lights in darkness, as your strobe lights were your only lighting source. So I'm quite excited to see how if they'll do that take here, where it's going to be very dark and it's just going to be with strobe lights, meaning if anyone has conditions where strobe lights are an issue,
Yeah.
maybe not the house for you.
If you have, I mean, I wouldn't really recommend coming to Horror Nights if you're epileptic like that. It's going to be tough
Yeah.
because there's a lot of that. So as we go through this, let's just give a very quick and dirty thumbs up, thumbs down. No thumbs sideways. You have to take a choice. You have to say yes or no.
Ah,
For this one, I'm going to go thumbs up. I think this is a plus for the event.
I think it's a plus. Like I said, zombie fan at heart. As even though I'm
Yeah.
Alvarowise, I would be zombie Varo any day.
Okay, and it is different from like The Walking Dead or The Last of Us. It's a different kind of zombie, different design. So good.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the next house we're going to talk about?
The next house we're talking about is Monsters 2,
Monstros 2.
the Nightmares of Latin America.
Ooh, scary.
And the official synopsis is you can try to flee the clutches of the rider, El Charro, the devil dog, El Cadejo, and the boogeyman, El Cucuy, but you can't escape La Muerte. Ooh.
So it's three different monsters from last year. It sounds like they're going less wide ranging. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know these monsters of Latin America that well. 'Cause I'm not from Latin America. But last
What?
year,
Since when?
yeah, it's a brand new thing that just dropped.
What?
Yeah, who knew? So, I mean, it was a good house last year. I think it'll be a good house this year as well. This is kind of the third year in a row that we're having this Latin America themed maze. I don't think it's outworn its welcome yet.
No.
I think maybe one or two more years, then I'm going to start getting sick of it. But for now, I'm still say yes.
I think that's gonna be my biggest concern from this house again, which was a concern. I've talked about this. The lack of signage of where these monsters are from, and a
You
little
need the
blurb.
backstory. You need the
I,
backstory.
I need a blurb about them. I just their names means nothing to me because as I was reading these names, I was like, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that. What's that?
Yeah. Yeah, you make a good point. I mean, the monsters this year are what? It's the boogeyman, it's the devil dog, and the rider.
Yeah.
That doesn't give you a lot to go on what's going on. I remember last year it did kind of want you to get involved with what's with the guy's sack. Why am I going in the sack? Why are his legs so long? And none of that got explained. So a little more audio getting pumped in that explains to you LQC who did this, this, and the other thing that were all terrible. Now there he is. That might add to it.
Yeah, I mean the writer of Charo. The first thing that reminds me is the Headless Horseman.
Yeah.
That's the first thought that came to me. It was like, is this the Latin America version of the Headless Horseman?
It reminds me of season 2 of Eastbound and Down, where Kenny Powers travels to Mexico and plays for the Charros.
Oh,
So if they have Danny McBride in the maze, this is going to be a two thumbs up for me.
yeah.
But I think that might be unlikely.
Maybe it'll be exciting. I mean, Charo does mean like cowboy.
Yeah,
So,
it's just a word.
Yeah.
It's not really a monster word. It's just a
No.
kind of a normal word. So that'll
Yeah.
be interesting to see
It's
who that monster is.
it's the equivalent of English saying the cowboy.
Yeah, it's not. If that maze was just called the cowboy, that wouldn't be a good maze. You
Yeah.
can't just translate it to Spanish and now it's a scary word. That's not how language works.
No. And then also like, what does the word cadejo mean? I have no idea. I've never heard of it.
I don't know.
Is it
I
just
don't speak Spanish.
is it a name? Is it like an adjective that he became that? The only one that I do recognize is El Cucuy. very prominent monster of, especially in Mexico. It is talked about. That's the catch-all boogeyman.
That one I've heard of that before.
Yeah,
I
everyone.
believe they've done a maze for him well before we started going, back when they did the original La Llorona maze.
Did they now?
I think so. I should have done more research for this episode.
But yeah, like I said, if they have a little blurb, it can be in the beginning.
Yeah.
It can be said out loud in the speakers right before you enter their section. Um,
Just something to give more of the story.
yeah, I definitely would love it. Just to get more into it, more into the feeling of where I'm at. I am excited for all the smell-o-vision
Yeah, yeah.
of this maze, though.
That was good last year as well.
Yeah,
But again, I do feel like this might be hard to get to that same level, just because this will be the third time we're going to be seeing that style, and every year it's a little less fresh. Again, I don't think they're at the end of the rope yet for this, and it's new monsters, so it is still fresh. Unlike another one we're going to talk to at the end of this event, but next year I might have more concerns. But for now, still gets a thumbs up for me.
thumbs up for me too, just because I'm excited for it. But let's see how it goes.
Okay, so next up is one that I was excited before it was announced. Less excited now. Tell us what it is.
Our next house is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire.
So if you remember us talking about this on the speculation, I was excited for just a Ghostbusters 2, kind of like an original Ghostbusters, or maybe using elements from Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2, and I thought that they could do some crazy original ghost designs, because the ghost designs are so fun in the Ghostbusters movies. Now it's been announced it is actually tied into the new Ghostbusters movie that came out this year. That wasn't really a flop, but it wasn't a hit either. It's kind of eh. I didn't even see it. I didn't see Afterlife either. So it's really dampened my excitement for this maze. I mean, maybe if I see the movie, I'll love it and I'll be excited again. But for now, today, not that excited. Where are you at on this one?
I honestly haven't seen any of the new ones either. I grew up with the original
Yeah, the
Ghostbusters,
first two.
and
Really, just the first one.
yeah, the first one was the more iconic
The
one.
second one's okay. It's not as good.
It's it has its place.
If you watch Ghostbusters 1, usually you're like, oh, I'm going to watch Ghostbusters 2 a few days later, and you watch it, and it's not awful, but you don't just watch Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
You watch it because you just watched Ghostbusters 1 and you want more Ghostbusters.
But yeah, I haven't seen the new ones. I think the new Ghostbusters are more for the younger crowd. 'Cause they
It's
do.
all kids.
Yeah,
It's
it's
odd. That's
all
odd.
it's
Yeah.
it's all children. It's all Gen Z. So we'll see how that goes.
It's disappointing that it's the new movie and not just the franchise.
Yeah, but hopefully they do make it interesting. I guess it'll be a debate whether we should catch up with the films right before going into
Yeah,
the
I'll
maze,
see the new one.
or trying to go through it as having seen the movies and then getting our reaction that way. I think the best way would be one of us watches the new ones and then
Mm,
one of us doesn't,
that's a good idea.
so we can get both reactions of if you've seen the films, it's a disappointment.
And
But if you haven't, then it's good.
there have been bad movies that have been turned into good mazes before. You remember just last year, Exorcist Believer? It's kind of a big flop actually, but the maze was pretty good.
Yeah.
So this could be a case of that again. You can't really count Horror Nights out. I think just the disappointment I had when it came out. This is going to be the new movie. It's not going to be the characters that you love. It's not going to be those designs you love. It's going to be all this new stuff just for cross promotion purposes. That really dampened my excitement. So for me, I gotta give it a thumbs down.
I went to the neutral just because I
This
don't
one,
know.
it would be a neutral leaning down, but I thought that's such a cheat. So we're only doing up or down.
Fine, if that's the case, I'm leaning down just because it's not the original one.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Okay.
not what we wanted, and it makes us angry
Yes,
because we're very spoiled.
but please be quiet now, because it's time to talk about A Quiet Place.
Now, this is one I believe we did mention on an earlier episode because this was the first one announced. This is going to be a quick recap for everyone.
Yeah, we talked about how we didn't know exactly how they will incorporate,
Yeah, I'm very skeptical.
especially since these movies you have to be quiet.
Yeah, and you're not going to be able to simulate that environment with other guests in the walkthrough with you. The other guests will be loud. They are always loud. I mean, there's problems of people will step on your feet in these things, they'll bump into you. Now the standard becomes you have to actually be silent as you walk through. You will not hit that standard. You'll hit that 0% of the time. So even if the maze itself is quiet, it will not be a quiet place at all. I did like that this is based on A Quiet Place 1 and 2 and not based on just the new one that came out. Even though that movie, I think it did well. People did like I didn't see it, but people liked it. I appreciate they went back to the classics.
The classics makes it sound like they're
Yeah,
over
they're not that
20-year
old.
old.
But they
Yeah.
did go back to the first two that are more well known even than the new one, I think. And that gave me a little more excitement for it. Is it enough excitement to move it into a thumbs up? No, it's still a thumbs down.
Well, one of the things that Horror Nights will incorporate into these films is that they will be using ASL interpreters for the first time in their
Yeah,
mazes.
which we also thought might be strange.
Something that would be
Because
happening.
there's times where you actually need to hear the instruction like do not go, this is not the next door you go through. This is like the escape door. It's just someone waving their hand trying to get your attention. I feel like they're just going to talk anyways because they need to give you that instruction. So if there's some
ASL.
ASL stuff that's more like a character comes out and it's like you're there and they're signaling to you something, but you won't be able to read it. There won't be subtitles. Like in the movie, there's subtitles.
Yeah, because
That won't be the case in real life.
that's my thoughts is what if you don't know ASL?
Yeah, which is most people going through this.
Yeah,
So I
and
don't know. It's a fun gimmick.
I think the most of the sound that you're gonna hear is gonna be the growling of the monsters,
Yeah.
or as them quote unquote getting close to you.
And even if you're soundproofing the rooms, you'll hear the loud noise of the monster popping off 3 rooms before you get in that room. So I just don't see how it's going to work. Again, maybe they can make it work. They seem to be excited about it. We'll see.
If they're incorporating the first one, the most of the sound you're gonna hear is probably gonna be the birthing scene at the end, when the dad talks to his son next to the waterfall, and the beginning a little bit of the
Mhm.
toy making the noise that took out the young son. Other than that, I don't think there's that many sounds in the first one. In the second film, that has more sounds to it, which is where they could play around just slightly more. But again, if you're trying to stay in theme of having to be quiet, it's gonna get a
Yeah.
little interesting.
And again, there's only one kind of monster in these movies. So you're going to see that a lot popping out at you, which is going to get old. It's going to be the Vecna problem from last year in
Oh,
Stranger
not
Things.
the Vecna
Yeah.
problem.
So it's thumbs up, thumbs down. Where are you standing on this one?
It's difficult. I want to like it. I will give it a thumbs up.
Really? You're going all the way to thumbs up.
I'm gonna give it a thumbs up.
Okay, we'll see.
Well, I want it to be
I
neutral
would.
leaning up. Neutral leaning up.
Okay. I hope this is a thumbs up when I walk out.
Yeah.
I
I wouldn't
just
be surprised.
right now when I look at the lineup, is this one that makes me more excited or less excited? It makes me less excited.
Well, the further we talk about this, the further we'll.
That's a tough segue. I
Yeah.
don't. That's not a good segue. All right. What's the next house?
Our next house that we're talking about is Insidious, The Further.
The further.
This should be it's not just one film that they're going into. It's going to be a conjunction of, I believe, all the films.
Yes, that's my understanding as well. So I've seen the first 2 Insidious movies, which I watched knowing we'd be talking about this maze. I hadn't seen them before. And I did go through the last time they did a maze for Insidious The Last Key, and I did go through that one. It was a decent maze. That was a long time ago. That was, I don't actually remember.
I think
Several Horror Nights ago.
it was the late 20 teens.
You weren't there for that one.
And
I went with someone else.
how dare you?
Yeah,
How dare
scandalous.
you?
So I don't know. After seeing the first 2 Insidious movies, these are also James Wan movies we've talked about because he did Saw. So we loved Saw. He also did The Conjuring, and it feels like Insidious is where he had all these ideas, where it's the haunted house and Patrick Wilson and these fun designs for the ghosts and the children always in danger, so you feel connected to it. There's some reason they can't leave the house. In The Conjuring, they can't leave the house because they're too poor to move. In Insidious, it's because the boy himself is haunted, which is actually a little more compelling.
The family's haunted is that.
But just the way that the
location.
story is structured, it feels like he has all these ideas for a ghost story. They haven't really come together yet. They come together in The Conjuring. Those movies are really good. And Insidious just feels like a worse version of The Conjuring.
Insidious is quite interesting because it has demons, it has ghosts, It has possessions, and it has murder. Murder most foul.
Mm.
So I'm like you said, the movies weren't that great. I watched a lot of the films, and some of them were great, some of them were flops. Some of them I was thinking, why'd they make this? uh,
The first two I liked. Alex, we'll just do a little mini movie review, a little bonus for you. So the first one, I liked kind of the mystery aspects of the first two. The was stronger than the second one, where you're trying to figure out what's going on with the possession
oh, the father.
with the father, because you kind of know he's kind of possessed, but he's acting like he's not. You unravel this whole history of the demons and the ghost possessing people. I thought that was really well done. The second one was definitely better than the first one. The first one is a little slow
Well, they were
because
trying to build up the lore.
yeah, there's a lot of build up which can be good. I think it drags on a little too long because you know going into the movie, you know it's a haunted house. You know there's ghosts because you're watching a ghost movie, and they really pull against it. I don't know. They're not bad,
I
but it
think
feels like for this is supposed to be like the headline IP for the year is going to be Insidious. Is it reaching that level for me? No, it's not even close to what I would expect out of our big IP we're getting this year.
I think for the most part, the way I've seen these films is they're overstaying their welcome.
Yeah, it feels strangely dated in the way that maybe because it hasn't been enough time, maybe if they wait 10 more years now it'll be retro. But in a way that in like an 80s franchise will have amazing. You're excited for that. Because like this is a classic. I don't think Insidious has been around long enough that it's classic. And again, I feel like that's because Conjuring was the same movie but better.
Yeah, The Conjuring was a lot more interesting. It was a lot more. It
They're
had,
more fun.
yeah.
There's a funness to them. And then Insidious takes itself a little too seriously for what it is.
We'll see. We'll see how they decide to take this. What would you say? A thumbs up or thumbs down for?
It gets a thumbs down for me just because I don't think it'll be awful, but does it get me excited? No.
Doesn't get you excited. I am excited. The only part that I'm excited for is just to see how they incorporate the demons, and when you go into the further, where it's going to be pitch black, surrounded by the pale
Mm.
ghosts. That's going to be interesting for me. That's where I'm excited for.
And probably a strobe light.
Oh God, exactly.
I mean, if you're in there and the whole maze is the further, that's kind of a cool concept because those are always the best parts of the movies where they go in there and they're having some crazy ghost adventure.
It would be funny. I mean, I don't know how they could do this, but it'd be great if they could give you a lantern.
That would be cool if they rise to that level. They won't.
They won't. God
They
no.
should. They'll have a scare actor will look like vaguely like Patrick Wilson with a lantern. That's what
Yeah.
they'll do.
Or the child.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
But right now, I mean, I'm not like dreading it. I think it'll be fun. It should be this is not good enough for the headline AP this year, and that feels like they're trying to use it like it is.
I think they're just trying to get the momentum back up for these films.
Is another one coming out?
I don't think so at this
Yeah,
moment,
it's a weird choice that we're doing Insidious.
but
All
we'll
right,
see.
so let's go to the next one.
The next house would be Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines.
This is a bit of an odd one. So usually I love the Universal Monsters houses, but this is going in a different direction. So tell us what this one's about.
This haunted house would be all female based classic Universal horror monsters, including the Bride of Frankenstein, Dracula's daughter, She Wolf of London, and the undead mummified Egyptian princess Anaxunamun.
So my issue with this maze is 2 years ago we already had the Bride of Dracula versus the Bride of Frankenstein.
Correct.
And now we're basically doing that same maze again, just adding in She Wolf of London and a Noxua Moon, which isn't awful. I mean, those will be cool ads. I would rather have She Wolf of London versus Noxua Moon, and that's the whole maze. That I would be excited for. But this feels like it's going to be a lot of Bride of Frankenstein. It's going to be a lot of. I mean, it's Dracula's daughter instead of Bride of Dracula, but essentially it's going to be the same thing.
It's still kin.
It's going to be the same. It feels like this is going to be a big retread. And first of all, we haven't had the creature from the Black Lagoon in a Universal Monsters maze yet. Everyone wants him. It should have been him. This should have been his year. We should be doing that before we're doing a recycled maze. And if we're at a point, if they're just not doing the creature for whatever reason, and they have no new ideas, their only ideas, let's recycle what we did 2 years ago. Let's just not Universal Monsters this year. Let's do something else.
Well, they're gonna do the women of classy monsters, well, not the creature's wife.
Yeah. Or
Half
do
her
do
film.
the actress in that movie? They insured her legs for that shoot in case she broke her leg or something because I think it was like a $50,000 insurance on the shoot
That's in
specifically for her legs
what is this in the
in the
1950s
50s.
money?
Yeah, so that was
So
a big insurance policy. They
that's
needed those legs.
it's probably in the
Fun fact.
millions.
Fun fact. But can't get excited for it. It's just too much of a retread for me.
Um, Anasuna Moon. I'm excited to see what
You know
her
what? You know what I'm worried.
problem is.
Yeah,
Because the first one it was Bride of Frankenstein versus Dracula, Dracula's wife. So that's their problem. So what is she gonna be fighting for?
she's gonna. That's what I'm concerned about. Is that the Anoxia Moon and She Wolf of London portions, or the portions that I am excited for, are going to be like the Dr. Jekyll portions in last year Maze, where they're just kind of stapled on there at the very end. Or they're just gonna be like one jump scare for Knoxville Moon, one jump scare for the She Wolf, and it's all going to be Dracula and Frankenstein again.
We'll see. We're probably gonna be going to their homes essentially. So we're probably gonna be going to the tombs of Egypt for a Nox in the Moon.
I would like that. I don't think we will. If you remember where they did Dracula versus Wolfman versus Mummy, not that much Mummy in that.
No,
Very little. I
it
think
was
I think that's a big spend for them, and they don't want to do it.
bruh.
I'm very skeptical. I'm very skeptical. Maybe just because I have so many of these mazes are just downers for me this year that I'm just in that mindset. But I gotta give it a thumbs down as well, which is shocking for me to give a Universal Monster Maze a thumbs down. But I'm very disappointed this is the theme they went with.
Who hurt you? Who hurt you? All right. Well, that's
I will add, I think they are trying to tie in a little bit to the Epic experience in Florida, where they're going to be opening the Epic Universe as Universal Monsters Land. And I know that they've changed Dr. Frankenstein to be a woman in that, and maybe they're trying to tie that in and make this a little more female focused in Universal Monsters canon. But again, I don't care. I don't live in Florida, so any tie into that zero added element for me.
they are doing a lot of things in Florida first and then bringing them here. So it can give us an idea, but at the same time is I want
I
California originals.
I just want a good maze. I don't care if it. I don't need it to be an advertisement or something else. So that is everything that's announced, I believe, so
Yes,
far.
that is the last house.
So just to quickly run through what has been heavily rumored, that hasn't been announced yet, is another weekend maze is very heavily rumored to be coming. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I believe is supposed to be themed around, according to the rumors again, is themed around a slaughterhouse theme this year. It's supposed to be super gross.
Ooh,
The
tasty.
the Terror Tram is supposed to be Bloomhouse themed, which I really could go either way on. If it's just more Purge, because Purge is Blumhouse, that's gonna suck.
I feel
If,
like we've been doing Blumhouse.
yeah, if they do like a Megan takeover, that would be cool. If it's like all Megan themed, I'd be into that. Like a Megan tram.
I don't know.
Do you think it's too late?
Megan is not that scary by herself,
Okay. I'm worried it's gonna be a lot of Purge.
probably.
And the most intriguing thing is that the show hasn't been announced yet. So that might actually not be Purge, because I feel like if it was going to be Purge like 2, they would have announced it by now. So it might be something fresh. That could be really exciting. And the scare zones also haven't been announced.
Now, here's my hot take on this. There's gonna be no purge whatsoever in these houses,
Oh, that's a bold take.
just because they're gonna feel like it's too political on an election
Mm,
year.
it might be. It
That's
might be.
that's what the
Especially
whole
when
thing
there was an
was.
assassination attempt already.
Exactly.
It's already been a little violent. So
Yeah,
might be good to lower the temperature a little.
exactly. So I feel like they really don't want people to think of politics when they're at these houses and these events. So my hot take is there's going to be no purge whatsoever, just because last year's show was the assassination of a political
That's
figure.
true. It was. It was. That was the theme.
It was the
Even if
assassination.
it's in the Purge world, he
Yeah.
wasn't meant to be like a Trump stand or anything like
No,
that. He
it
was
was
just a
no.
Purge. He was an original character.
It was just a
But yeah, I
politician.
think it would kind of be in bad taste just now that I think about that. I
Yeah,
didn't consider that.
yeah. It's going to
So
be a little bit of a bad taste. Had the assassination attempt not happened, perchance they might have had it. But I still heavily think that in an election year, they don't really want people to focus on that.
yeah, you're supposed to escape for a night and
Exactly.
just go and not worry about the real world.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I like that take. I think that makes sense. And now I'm gonna have a protest sign if they do Purge again. Just say not cool.
Noxuna Moon is not impressed.
I wish it was a whole Noxuna Moon maze. That would be so cool. So Texas Chainsaw I think could be cool. Weekend, I don't know. I'm not a fan of his music so much. I like the first one though, so I'm open to the second one.
I'm excited if it were Texas Chainsaw, just because the last time there was Texas
It's always
Chainsaw,
good.
the food was amazing.
Oh yeah. I will say of all the Texas Chainsaw mazes we've done, there have been a lot. I know people are bored of it, but I feel like they've never missed. I feel like they've always actually been pretty good.
They don't
It,
miss, even though they get bored of them.
yeah. It's just so easy to translate into the maze. It has the chainsaws, it has the macabre settings, it has a variety of characters. It's just so easy to make into a maze. I feel like why not do it one more time?
Don't move, Grandpa's seeing you.
Okay, so overall, what's your thumbs up, thumbs down? If you look at the overall event as it stands today.
As in all of Horror Nights right
Yes.
now, I think I want to be middle leaning up, just because even though some of these houses look like they're going to be not so great, I still think that they'll surprise us.
So
They're
you're,
going
you're
to
counting
surprise
on
us.
execution to come through.
Yes. One thing is to talk about it, and then another is to actually experience it.
Now I run our Twitter account, and I see
No, X
X.
account.
X. Sorry for using the dead name. So I run our X account, and I see a lot of posts by people in the Horror Nights Orlando community, and the sentiment seems to be, I don't really care what the IPs are because I go to Horror Nights for the original mazes. Now, as West Coasters, that's an insane concept to me. I go to Horror Nights for the IP mazes, and the originals are a little sweetener on top. If I just want original mazes, I'm going to go to Not Scary Farm for that. That's what that's good for. And when I look at the IP offerings this year, what's exciting? Is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire exciting? No. Is A Quiet Place exciting? No. Is Insidious exciting? No. Is the Universal Monster theme they're going with exciting? No. Is The Weekend exciting? Not really. Is Texas Chainsaw Massacre exciting? Again, I look at what Magic Mountain's doing for Fright Fest this year. Look at their lineup: Stranger Things, Conjuring Universe, Saw 20th Anniversary, Army of the Dead, Trick or Treat, and then strangely in Mexico City they're doing Deceased, which is it's the DC universe, but they're all zombies. So imagine you're going through a maze and zombie Supergirl is there, and little scorched shirt jumping at you. That's a good maze. That's what I want to do. I
That
might
sounds
have to go to
amazing.
Mexico City to do that one.
That sounds amazing. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, like DC's, you get zombie Supergirl, zombie Wonder Woman, zombie Batman, all of them jumping out. That would be an amazing maze. I don't know why that's only in Mexico City. I think probably the DC head people are like, we don't put the zombie superheroes in LA. It's a little too gross. But even without DC's, that would be great.
Move them to the mountain.
I mean, that is a killer IP lineup. That might actually get me to go to Fright Fest this year, even though it doesn't have such a great reputation. And compare that to what's supposed to be the premier horror destination in LA, Horror Nights. It's just a night and day difference. So very disappointing. When you look at what was available, I mean, that might be Warner Brothers saying, because they have a deal with Six Flags saying we're only really going to lend our good stuff out to Six Flags from now on. But even then, I mean, Stranger Things, Army of the Dead, those aren't Warner Brothers IPs, I don't think. Stranger Things certainly isn't.
No.
And Army of the Dead, I know they have a relationship with Zack Snyder because he did all their DC movies for a while, but that came out through Netflix. So if that was out there to get, Universal should have gone and got them. And if they realize we can't get this stuff, they should have pivoted to something else. Feels like they're kind of resting on their laurels. They got stuff that this is like Quiet Place, that's a cross promotion. Ghostbusters, that's a cross promotion. Insidious feels like it's a cross promotion. Weekend's a cross promotion. They're just trying to cross promote. I don't want mazes that are advertisements. I want mazes or houses that are themselves good. So I don't know, it's disappointing. It's a disappointing lineup this year. I'm hoping the execution saves it. It'll still be fun to be there, I think, just because it's a fun event and they run it pretty well, especially if you buy the nicer tickets, which we talked about on the last episode. So be sure to watch what ticket's right for you. But I mean, they could do better, and they should for what they're charging.
I guess Undead Ed wants to visit the Deceased first.
Yeah, I might have to go to Mexico City for that.
That's a tough one because after everything you said, everything we've gone over, I think they are at least fighting to steal some of the crowd from Universal. And honestly, it sounds like Universal's making it easy.
Yeah. I mean, where's Chucky too?
He's gone.
Yeah, that just sub out A Quiet Place or Ghostbusters for Chucky 2 makes this event feel a lot better.
And Chucky's house last year was pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah, and you could really, I mean, you could just run, honestly, just run the same exact house, just do a straight repeat, and it would make the event better.
Yeah.
Where's the Friday the 13th maze? It just was a big announcement earlier this year how they've resolved the rights for Jason, and they're really going to start pushing the Jason universe. Where's the Friday the 13th maze? Feels like they had options. They didn't go for them. They went for like these very safe. It feels like every year at Universal, there's a major tool where it's like, this is the tax that you're going to go on this house and you're not super excited for it, but it's here because it's promoting a movie or because someone knew someone and it's just here. You're just going to go on it. Like Exorcist Believer last year was like the tax.
Yeah.
This year is all tax.
I think they've realized that it doesn't matter what they put up,
I
people
think,
will
yeah.
come.
I think
No
that's
matter what.
part of the problem. So they're like, let's just get what's cheap to get.
What it sounds like is they've gotten comfortable,
Hmm.
which is crazy to think about because they've done this for many, many years.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if it still pulls the crowds like it usually does. It might not.
It could be
Attendance
that,
might be down for once.
it could be that they're getting comfortable, or it could be that just that purchasing IPs has been getting more and more expensive as the
It
years
could be
have
Warner
gone.
Brothers tightening the leash. And we know all the Fox IPs, Alien Predator, are off the table now that's owned by Disney. They will
Yeah.
not sell anything to Universal.
It's only a matter of time until the Simpsons universe is gone.
Yeah. But that might be a plus. That one, bring back to the Future.
Do not get rid of the Simpsons donut. I will cry.
It could be the Doc Brown time donut.
I will take that.
Yeah.
I want Doc Brown back. Give me my baby back.
All right. So, we'll be with you all the rest of the way until Horror Nights, and we'll give you our review. We're going at the end of September. So some of you might go before us, but if you're going in October, we'll give you the review beforehand, and you'll know because we're the source. We're the authoritative source on all of this. We're also going to Midsummer Scream this weekend in
Yes.
Long Beach. And there is a Horror Nights panel on Sunday that we'll be attending. And I believe there will be more. Well, I know there will be more announcements there. I think they're going to announce probably Texas Chainsaw and probably Weekend there as well. Hopefully the show, hopefully the Terror Tram. Because a lot of these announcements have come very late this year. Usually they're screwed out, earlier throughout the year. And this year they put them all in like June.
It's crazy just because it's getting real close.
Yeah, we still don't know everything that's coming. I mean, they're selling tickets. We have tickets.
We bought our tickets
because we're fools. So we'll tell you. We'll tell you if this is good or not. I mean, again, like you said, if they nail execution for A Quiet Place, if they go with Ghostbusters, they say we're going to take our own spin on this, and they nail it. If they take Insidious and say again we're going to do original things with this concept, and they nail that, it could still be an A+ event.
That's a lot. That's a tall order.
It's a lot, but they've done really strong stuff before. They've surprised me before. Like the first Weekend maze, I wasn't excited for at all, and that might have been my favorite one that year. It was great.
That's on you. I did not like the Weekend.
But I'm just saying they've done a lot with a little before, so maybe they'll do it again. I mean, maybe if you go to Universal Monsters, it is a lot of She-Wolf of London and a Knoxville Moon. That could then still be great. I'm just worried it won't be based on what we've seen before.
We'll have to take our spin. We'll have to wait and find out.
All right. So that's going to wrap for the Horror Night news, but that's not going to wrap for the episode. We have one little treat for you. Well, three little treats based on our little vacation we had.
Yes.
Not to New Jersey. We took a little break from counseling at Jason Fest.
We did.
We'll get back to those counselors soon. I think it seems like the counselors keep trickling away somehow. They keep seeming to go missing.
I think they just. I don't know if it's they're missing.
We're just
going
counting them.
home.
I think we're just counting them incorrectly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the count keeps going down.
Yeah, I think I swear there were more, but I'm also thinking that we just miscounted the first
And
time.
someone keeps bringing cherry syrup and putting it all over the arrows and the machetes and the pitchforks in the camp. It's the strangest thing. I have to be washing those every morning.
Power. Good thing we invested in that power washer.
Power washers really come in handy. Have you seen my hockey mask, by the way? I can't seem to find it.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, that's weird.
A lot of the materials have gone missing as well.
Strange.
Sticky fingers.
So, all that cleaning we had to do. We took a break. We went to Vegas for a weekend, had a good time. And of course, because we are the Hollywood horror nerds, we had to be the Vegas horror nerds for at least one day. And we hit, I think, almost all the horror attractions they have in Vegas. There's not a lot, but there's some.
We didn't do the haunted house, but because we had done it
We had done
before,
that before.
we've
We can
done it
talk about that.
before.
We can talk about that real quick.
Yes.
So we're going to talk about, we'll throw that in. We'll talk about the Haunted Museum. It's great. Go to the Haunted Museum. It's really good.
That's it.
Yeah, I would say,
It's great.
first of all, let's start with the Haunted Museum. Because if you're only going to do one horror themed attraction in Vegas, that's the one to do. It's based on Zach Baggins. He owns it. He does Ghost Adventures on, I think it's Discovery.
Yes, it's
The
Discovery.
show, it's a hit or miss show. Because, I mean, to his credit, I think he believes that the show is real. I don't feel like he's trying to trick me. It is a lot of like, oh, I get a weird feeling right now, and that's kind of okay, Zach. That can be psychosomatic. Sometimes they do capture stuff, so it's a fun show. And
Maybe you just need to be on psychedelics.
and there's a lot of interesting artifacts in the
The
haunted
museum. The museum, yes.
They have stuff you'll recognize. And it's also good if you're just a fan of true crime or the macabre, because they have a lot of artifacts from very famous serial killers that were like shocking to see. Like this is this.
I was heavily impressed by the amount of materials they had of those real life murderers.
Yeah, like Ted Bundy stuff.
Yes, the killer clown.
The Ed Gein stuff
Yeah.
was shocking. And the ghost stuff was very well done. I would say one thing we didn't get to do, but I think we're planning to do at some point in the future, is get the VIP
RIP.
experience.
No, RIP.
Is it RIP there too?
I think
That's ripping off Universal. But I think you do see some extra exhibits that sounded very cool that I definitely wanted to do them when we were there, and it was too late to upgrade by the time they start telling you, okay, now the RIP people get to go do this, and you have to sit here and wait.
The hilarious part was in our tour group when we went, it was only a couple, a husband and wife.
Yeah.
They decided to do none of the experiences.
They got too scared.
Yes.
It is a scary walkthrough because it's presented as in, there's actually ghosts like in the museum. That's what it's presented as. You can also pay. We didn't do this. You can pay to get like locked in for a few hours at night with like flashlights and ghost hunting equipment. If you're into ghost hunting, it's a cool option.
Yeah, they don't let you take stuff home though.
They do not.
But if anything
you never
attaches
know what
to you,
follow you home.
Yeah, if anything gets attached to you, that's on you.
It's the same as at Disney. So Haunted Museum, definitely 2 thumbs up for me.
3 thumbs up.
Yeah, they're very good. So what we did this trip, we'll go in order. We had 3 monster destinations. The first was actually in Boulder City. So this is a bit of a drive from Vegas. You're going to either drive yourself or rent a car if you want to do this. Don't Uber. It's too far to Uber.
It's too expensive if you were to
It's
do
maybe,
that.
like a 40-minute drive. It's not a full hour from
No,
the strip.
it's under an hour, however.
But it's close to an hour.
The distance is far.
Yeah, and it's through like super hot desert.
Mind you, this was in no traffic. So
Yes.
40 minutes, no
Yes.
traffic.
So in Boulder City, if you're going to the Hoover Dam, it's by the Hoover Dam.
Yeah, there you go.
Tom Devlin's Monster Museum. So Tom Devlin was a contestant on the sci-fi show Face Off, and he had a bit of a career in the makeups and special effects industry, and he set up the Monster Museum in Boulder City. So if you've ever been to the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum, where you go through and they have these wax figures of celebrities, you take your picture with Taylor Swift or whoever else. This is that same concept, but instead of celebrities, it's movie
Celebrity
monsters.
monsters.
Right. And this is mostly a good place for your Instagram. You can take a lot of fun pictures posing with the monsters. There is a bit of a variety of like how good the different wax figures are. I remember like the Freddy Krueger one in specific, it was bad. Like that was not a good wax
he's
figure.
supposed to be ugly.
He was too ugly. But they had a room where they had every Jason from every movie.
Yeah. In order,
which was really fun. That was really good. Well, those felt really good. They had the Tim Curry. It was really fun. The Pinhead room was pretty good. They had a pose as if you're Chucky in the Good Eye box. So it's just a big like Instagram trap. It was pretty fun.
They had what was it? Those monsters from the space box called?
The Cenobites.
The Cenobites.
Yes, the Pinhead room.
Yes. Pinhead room.
So definitely, this gets a thumbs up for me.
It was a thumbs up.
It's only it's like $20 to go through.
It was very affordable.
Yeah.
And afterward,
fun way to kill an hour.
The arcade they have attached to it was also great. So you could. I was on the pinball machine.
Yes. Did you get a high score on that?
I did get a high score.
Okay,
Unfortunately,
so
I didn't get to put my name on it because I didn't know how to work the machine.
Well, if you see a phantom high score, there might be Alvarowise.
Yes, that is always me.
Yeah.
No matter what the score is.
So when you're in Vegas, you need to kill some time in the morning or in the afternoon.
And are willing to drive 40 minutes
Check out Tom Devlin. It was a fun time. I had fun there.
Yeah.
The next destination we did was Sliced Pizza, which is a pizza restaurant that is all themed around horror. And their big gimmick is that all the pizza crust is black.
Yes, it's not burnt.
It
It's
looks burnt.
blood.
It looks burnt, but it's just blackened by like, I don't know, seaweed or squid ink or something.
It could be, or it could be food coloring.
It's probably just, yeah. The pizza was good. It did burn my mouth. It came out very hot.
Well,
Good
it's
flavor to
hot
it.
and ready. They make it
Something
on the
about
spot.
it. I mean, I guess we're a pizza review podcast now, but the cheese just slides right off. It did not. It was not sticky,
No, it was not. I felt like I needed a
and there
spoon.
was a lot of cheese on that pizza. There
Uh,
was a heavy amount of cheese. So if you're lactose intolerant, this is not the
this
place
is
for
not
you.
your place.
The horror vibe was good. It wasn't overpowering,
No,
but
they
you could
even
tell it had a theme to it. It had a few, statues here and there.
all the tables had a Ouija board.
That was fun.
That was fun.
And all the pizza is named after different movie monsters. You can go up and you order like the Jigsaw pie or the Pennywise pie, which was fun.
Yeah, and then if you use the restroom, there was the triple sixes up against the wall.
Yeah.
A lot more horror in there. And then off to the side, they had a little horror mini room with a piano and the ghostly player.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Not much going on in there, but it was
No,
fun.
it was just
One big minus for me is they didn't have a fountain drink, so you just got a can of whatever you ordered, and then you had to pay for another can if you wanted more of that. That's a big minus. Is it the best pizza in Las Vegas? No. Was it fun? Yeah.
it's a good
And
vibe.
it wasn't like crazy expensive. It was like affordable pizza,
Yeah.
what pizza costs these days.
And I believe they also had an attached escape room. We did not do,
Yes,
but
so
they did have an
we're
attached escape room.
well, now we're jumping to the next thing. So I would give Slice, I'd give it one thumb up. Yeah. If you're looking for horror pizza in Vegas, I don't think you have many options, but it's not a bad option.
It's not.
No, it's fun. It was a fun place to get lunch.
Yeah.
And now we'll talk about the escape room. So he's right. It was attached to what's called Escape Saw, the Saw escape room. The same company also runs Escape It, and that's the one we did. So Escape It is just a little, was it north or south of the strip? I think it's south.
It was south of the strip.
Just a little south of the strip. So pretty easy to get to. You could Uber to this one if you needed to.
Incorrect. It's north of the strip.
North?
North of the strip. Because I remember on our drive back, we had to drive north to get to it.
Okay, I'll trust you.
Yes.
So it's a little north of the strip. It's past like the Luxor.
It's
Yeah.
another way to find it. It's across from Costco.
It's across from the Costco Business Center.
This
And there's ample parking as well, which is rare for us coming from LA.
exactly. I did like that.
So these escape rooms they do are more themed than your average escape room for sure. It feels like you're in a Horror Nights maze when you're in there.
It's very immersive.
Super immersive. And there are scare actors. There were Pennywise scare actors that would come out at you throughout the experience. Oftentimes, if you like failed a room, or even if you succeeded a room, sometimes the door would open and Pennywise would be there and he would chase you into the next one. I really love that aspect. And those Pennywise scare actors, for being in an area that's not known for scare actors, Las Vegas,
Yeah.
they were very good. Like they got me a few times.
The one thing that was a hit or miss sometimes, which was something I was not used to in escape rooms, was that there was a constant actor with us.
Yeah. So the way it worked was it's not a traditional escape room in the sense that you go in a room and you escape. You go through a series of rooms. Each room usually has one puzzle to solve. You solve it, you go to the next room, and each room is, a different room. So most of the rooms are themed from the movie.
Yeah.
So there's actually two. There's Escape at Chapter 1, based on the first movie that's set in the 80s, and Escape at Chapter 2, set in present day. Escape It Chapter 1, you mostly just went through sewers. There weren't that many scenes from the movie in that one. It was a little disappointing. I remember there was no library. I remember that was such a scary scene in the movie when he's in the library, sees the headless librarian or whatever it was. Nothing in the school. It was just mostly sewers and a little bit. They did have the scene where you're in the room with the projector in the garage.
The one thing I wish they had done was the room where I think it was her name's Beverly, when all the blood comes
that was
out.
in Chapter 2.
Oh, that's Chapter 2? I thought that was Chapter 1 because she's a little girl.
But that was you saw that room in It Escape Chapter 2.
Ah, okay.
So It Escape Chapter 2, I think, did do a better job, where each room I can understand where it was from.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
okay,
the hair room.
Yeah. Yeah, the scare actor
So let's talk about the actors. Not the scare actors, the actors.
The actors, yeah.
So this is what really threw me. Is I remember in the first room we went in, and you're going to sit down and you're going to watch this training video. So it immerses you in the story. They're saying, we are volunteers to help find these missing kids. So watch this quick video explaining how to be safe in the sewers. Just basic escape from stuff like don't try to pull stuff. It doesn't come off. Everything will come off super easy. Don't bang on doors. Don't break all our stuff. I'm thinking,
We
well,
see you.
while this video is going on, I'm looking around the room. So I'm thinking, okay, there's a soda machine over there. I bet you push one of these buttons, you'll get a clue. There's like a children's place over there, but there's something creepy in there that'll be a clue because we're gonna have to get out of this room. We're gonna turn around. The guy who brought us in here will be gone, and he was. And we spent maybe like 40 seconds starting to like fan out the room. And then he comes back. I'm like, okay, why is he back? And he's like, "Oh wow, we need the key card." We're like, "Okay." So he's just telling us we have to find the key card. He's like, "Where's the? Oh, here's the key card."
And he hands it
He
to
just
us.
hands. So there was no mystery of the key card.
And that was it.
And this is a process that repeated a few times. So they ask you when you go in, do you want easy, medium, or hard? And I insisted on hard.
Yeah.
Actually, for the second time, I said
Mega hard.
even harder than that first one because in the first one, that first guy wasn't so bad. The second girl we got, so you get
The
three.
screamer?
You get three different actors who are like your guides in each one of these. The first guy was decent and not giving too many clues. Still gave some because they're timed. Each room is timed, and if you go too long, it's like, oh,
They'll
you
fail
failed.
you.
Just go to the next room. So which is fine with me. I would rather fail than be told the answer. And the second girl was really good. She gave us no help, which is what we wanted.
No, she gave us hints, which wasn't too
It
giving
wasn't
us,
too on the nose.
yeah, there wasn't too on the nose. She gave us hints like maybe we should try that. I don't know.
And then we got to the third guide.
The third guy was a screamer
So she screamed nonstop, and she
in an enclosed room.
right,
That was
and
supposed to be the sewers.
and my friend Alvaro here, he was the one who was trying to deal with the because you meet her. I don't want to give too much away, but you're trying to unlock something, and she's right by the lock when you find her, and she just kept screaming in his ear for like 5 minutes,
She essentially
nonstop.
she essentially
Yeah.
screamed in my ear the entire time that we were in
It
that
was
room.
to the point where I was about to like go to her and be like, "Look, I know
You're
you're
excited.
actors. I know you're getting paid for this, but take it down."
You're at a 10. I need you to be at a 5 or lower.
And it really actually kind of broke my immersion from the story that they were telling. Before that, I was getting actually pretty scared by the Pennywise jumps out. This was so much
Yeah.
that I didn't get scared after that. And worse than just the screaming, which I could live with, was she would just solve the puzzles herself. There were puzzles we did where she literally just did the puzzle while we watched her do it. And that was very annoying.
She spoon fed us the entire time that she was with us.
Yeah.
Literally, you and I were just standing still.
We just sat back and she gave our third friend, she was like, try this, try this, try this, try this. Oh, we got this one. Try this to this. Oh, we got that number. And we just watched her do it.
Yeah, there was the keypad code, and she basically solved the keypad code.
All by her, and that was super lame. Because when I do an escape room, I want to solve the puzzle.
First of all, when you go to an escape room, you assume it's going to be like 5 puzzles in a room.
Yeah, but I can get past that. The whole, you have someone in there with you, that's what really threw me.
Wasn't this like a 6-ish person room?
Yeah, they said this is designed for 6, like a minimum of 4. We only had 3 people in our party. We paid for the 4 slots. We could do it privately, and you do not need 6 people. Like
No.
3 felt like too much, honestly.
Honestly, solo
You can do this
would've
with
been
solo,
better.
yeah.
Solo would have
You
been
could have
better.
done this solo. There's only 1 puzzle per room, so you can't really collab that much.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially when they're like,
the second,
here's the key card.
if you're going to do one of these, again, I didn't hate this. I feel like we're being super negative because we're harping on this one aspect of the guide, and that was not good. The set design was really good.
It was.
Like, the sound design was really good. The puzzles were fine. They were simple.
The It actors were great.
The Pennywise actors were great. Some of the guides we had in It Chapter 2, like that first guide we had, he was really good, actually.
Oh, God.
He just, because he kind of picked up on our vibe that at this point we're not that scared of it. He just became like one of the boys, and it was really fun. He was the highlight.
Our guide and the
Pennywise also realized he was going to get scared. Then he also became one of the boys. And we were just telling jokes that we can't repeat on air. And that was probably the highlight. So strangely, the guides were both the low light and the highlights. But maybe it just depends on when you go. But just
depends on the guide.
Yeah, I would say I would recommend this experience if you love it. You're looking for a way to kill a few hours. Don't expect a hard escape room. If you want like a serious escape room experience, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
This is more of an immersive escape experience.
I Am in Derry.
Yeah, it did a good job at that.
Even the outside of the edifice of this
That
building.
one was cool. As you go there, and it says like Derry Municipal Water and Power. Like you're not in Vegas anymore, even though it's 200 degrees. So you clearly are.
They really tried to keep us shaded when we arrived. That was very nice. Yeah. They immediately moved us inside. They're like, it's hot outside. Let's go inside.
I would say if you're only going to do one of these two, definitely do chapter two. Chapter two I thought was much stronger.
It was a little bit more immersive.
There was a better variety of scenes you went through. It felt more tied to the movie. Better scares, I think.
Yeah,
By that time we were a little desensitized, but I think about it objectively, two had the better scares.
it was crazy because I knew they were around us, but they still got me several times. They still got
I mean,
me.
these Pennywise actors were very good. They were very good at it. Yeah,
They're good at their job. I don't know if it's one, if it's two, or if it's many, or several.
I think the puzzles were better in two as well.
Oh, I love the carnival one.
The carnival puzzles were really fun. There was a lot of like spatial reasoning puzzles, which I love. I don't want to give away what the puzzles were. There was only one in part two that I felt was so obtuse I would never have solved it.
Which one?
I don't want to give it away.
Give me a clue.
I'll tell you about it. The clowns.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But at that point, actually, it's helpful to have the guide.
Yeah.
Because then she just told us what to do because we were floundering. But it was good. It was good. I would give it still a thumbs up overall.
It was a pleasant time, and then after
just know what you're getting. You're not getting an escape room like you expect.
Traditional.
It's not a traditional escape room. It's an escape experience, like I said.
And then after you finish any of the rooms, you come out to the gift shop, and the gift shop was pretty good.
They really want you to give them a Yelp review. They really push that.
It was.
I didn't want to.
I didn't want to be mean. I didn't do it. The photo op section was
cool.
That was pretty cool.
Well done.
We took several just because we there was one where you can take it with it. Unfortunately, we kept covering it.
Yeah.
So we had
it was like a green screen thing you could do.
Yeah.
They had some props from the movie. They had the kids' bikes were the main prop. I remember. I think they had a Pennywise costume as well. So that's always cool to see stuff like that.
And then they also had food and drink.
Yeah.
But you had to finish them before going inside, of course.
So overall, I say if you know what you're getting into, I mean, it was a surprise. I in the first one we did in chapter one, I was just kind of very confused by why is there someone in here with us the whole time. And I think it's just kind of luck with the draw. If you get someone who's maybe she doesn't get the message that we asked for hard mode. That's what I have to assume because she was just spoon feeding us. But again, don't go in this for hard puzzles. The puzzles are not hard.
The puzzles are not hard, however.
But it is a fun and it's very immersive. The immersion level is very high.
I would say there was one instance where you do need two people, which was the one we were just standing still.
Yeah,
that was the only.
There's time where like physically you need more people, like to push buttons at the same time or something like that.
Yeah.
But rarely is like there's never three puzzles in a room and you need to be solving them all at once, like in a normal escape room. Yeah. Each room has one puzzle to solve.
That's the only reason why you would need more than one person. But the physical requirements.
Again, I mean, if you're a big It fan, you're probably gonna have a good time. You know, if you have a few mimosas with breakfast because you're in Vegas, you're probably gonna have a good time. If you're with a big group, I mean, if you're with like a 6-person group, maybe hold off. That's gonna be too many people. I'd do this with a 4-person max.
Yeah, we were 3, and we used for one of the rooms. We had to use the actor.
Yeah, you do actually need the 4th one for that one specific instance.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's fine to just do it with 3 or 4.
And everything else we did in Vegas was not that horrific.
It's nothing horror related.
No.
It was just horrifying.
Yeah, some of the prices are horrifying. The amount of money we lost at slots was horrifying.
The heat was the most intense. Alvarowise felt like he was being cooked alive.
Melty. He got a little melty.
Yes.
And I think is that a wrap? Is that all we got for this episode?
I think so.
All right, so like we said, we are going to Midsummer Scream this weekend. We're going to try to report on that as soon as we can. Because there will be new announcements there. And it's a fun convention. It's very Halloween themed, more Halloween than horror. There's a lot of fun, like DIY, how to make your own tombstone stuff. I'm into that kind of stuff, so I might go to some of those panels.
There's a Halloween costume party at
There's
night.
A big costume party. We're going to that. What else do they have? They have the Black Cat Lounge. I'm most excited for the Black Cat Lounge.
Because you love cats.
It's a room just full of black cats for you to pet, which is just peak.
Who would have thought Undead Ed loved cats?
I have an affection for black cats in particular. All right, so I think that's a wrap. I think we'll just leave it the outro. I think we got to hit Midsummer Scream, and then we got to get back to New Jersey for. I think the campers are desperate for more of that Jason Legends. We got to give it a little more of that pretty soon.
We left them alone. I'm just hoping that.
There's still 30 when we get back.
I'm hoping there's more than 0.
Yeah, that would be nice. Maybe we'll bring in another busload or 2.
Yeah,
that's ethical.
But every year it's just...
All right, so we'll leave it with the outro, and until then,
Stay scared out there. Thank you for listening to this production of the Hollywood Horror Nerds. We know you have many options for your listening entertainment, and we're glad you chose us. Find us on Instagram at Hollywood Horror Nerds, on X at HW Horror Nerds, and on YouTube at Hollywood Horror Nerds. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and your favorite alternative podcast site to ensure you don't miss next month's episode. And until then, stay scared out there.